Devo, thank you so much for doing this. Line combinations. Were you a player that got annoyed if your coach changed the lines too often?
Yeah, no, I hated it, honestly. Um, you don't really get any mojo going. You can't really figure out what your line is doing when, you have a couple bad shifts and everything is in a blender. So I personally always hated it and preferred to play, with at least one of the guys all the time.
With Emerson Edom all the time.
Yeah, exactly. That's my boy.
What a beauty.
Me, you, and him.
Yeah, right. Hey, Devo, what's going on with these Caps? The Leafs are facing them tonight. How do you like that matchup? And a little bit of a slow start for the Caps right now. Did you expect that, or what are you seeing out of that outfit?
I expected a little bit. New coach, new system, new philosophy, stuff like that. Not only that, a lot of guys starting a little slow all at the same time. They got two major pieces coming off massive surgeries. Tom Wilson, Nick Backstrom. Like I expected them to be a little bit rusty. Um, so I mean, it's going to take some time to all of that coming together, finding your legs, figuring out what the coaches want and need from you, and um, it's hard for me to bet against those guys not figuring it out. But it's obviously not the ideal start.
No, it's not. Any concern about Ovechkin's slow start? Like, it's tough for me to say because this guy's one of the greatest ever to score goals in this league's history. You played with him, you won with him.
Mhm.
Any concern that Father Time stands, undefeated? I mean, Father Time's going to get OV at some point in time. Any concern there?
Not really. I mean, I think I watched last game and obviously he came off two straight games without a shot. But last game he was creating. His second assist to Strome there, he could have easily just shot it. So it doesn't seem like he's forcing it or thinking about it too much. So I think, as long as he's getting some chances, they're eventually going to go in. And he's pretty streaky, so I expect he's going to get one and go on a little run for sure.
Mm. Devo, lots of guys on this podcast who have played with Sid have talked about, what he's like behind the scenes at practice, like just his whole mentality, work ethic, the way he goes about his business. What's Ovi like behind the scenes playing with him? Does anything stand out?
Um, to me, what stood out is obviously you hear all these stories without knowing him, and people assuming he's selfish and assuming he, doesn't really care and stuff like that. When I originally got there, he welcomed me with open arms. He welcomed all the new guys, all the young guys, made sure everyone's good. You needed anything, he would get it for you. Um, and how much he did care, after losses, you know, freaking out on the bench, snapping on guys in a good way, not degrading them or anything like that. But so I got to see that he was intense and cared. Where before I got there, the media was telling me that he didn't care and he was lazy and stuff like that, which just totally wasn't the case.
Does
Do
he
you
do
have any?
nasty shit in practice?
Well, he doesn't shoot in practice because he doesn't want to hurt anyone. So
He doesn't, eh?
um, he just in practice he strictly passes it unless it's a 2-on-1 or anything like that. But any drill where 5-on-5 and power play, he just doesn't shoot it because I'm sure earlier in his career he used to blast it and probably got some shit for that.
Do you have any one memory that stands out of like playing with Ovi that will be ingrained in your mind? Is it something maybe from like the parade or something like that?
Uh, I mean, he's one of a kind, and I would just remember like the first time I saw like a one timer go in. I was sitting on the bench. I remember it was New Jersey, and you get like the perfect angle of just him and the goalie, and there was you know only a puck length room, and the puck went perfectly bar down, top shelf, and that was early in my first season, and I just remember being like, "Wow, this is crazy!" And then him doing it like 40 more times that year, 50 more times, whatever, and it was just amazing to watch, and obviously great to cap it off with the win. But uh, he's one of a kind, and he'll get going here for sure.
I imagine. What's we need a prediction here. Betano prediction on the game tonight. Who do you got?
Oh man, you know, I think the Cavs are still trying to find their game. They played better last game for sure. Um, Probably gonna have to go with the Leafs though.
Ooh.
In a tight one, but you know, I think the Cavs they're trying to find their game slowly, but um, you know, the Leafs are they're gonna be playing fast and they might have a little trouble with them tonight.
What's your read on this Leafs team? Obviously, some substantial changes in terms some of the depth guys, interchangeable, obviously in the offseason were made. But do you like this roster? I mean, you're somebody who has been to the summit, finally got to the summit with the Washington Capitals. Do you like the look of this team, Devo?
Yeah, I definitely don't mind it for sure. You know, I think there's could be some tweaks. You know, like you said earlier, the line changing stuff like that. I think you know you got to give some guys some run, sticking together and seeing if you know those combinations can work. But you know, they definitely have you know it all. I mean, obviously we know the top of the lineup is insanely skilled. You know, and adding you know a guy like Max and Knives and stuff will only make them deeper. So you know, I like the team. Like I said, I just want to see, you know, guys get some run with the same line, consecutive games, and see, you know, if you can find some, you know, some combinations that you know are going to work. So later in the year, if things are changing, you know some combinations that can and will work.
We've talked this year about the consistency of the Leafs and the expectations of being like a championship team, and if that even looks that way. When you guys had that team in Washington, you won the cup, obviously. Did you know that was a special team, or was the whole thing a grind and you kind of found it in the playoffs, or did you know? Did you just know what to expect every night with that group?
Well, from the start, I mean, I went in there after you know a heartbreaking loss to Pittsburgh the year before, so you know I could kind of feel you know the anger and you know guys were hurt. It took a while to get going. I mean, I think in November we were awful. We got smoked in Colorado, and I remember um, you know Chauncey coming in and just ripping into guys, and from that point forward, we kind of turned it on and we got extremely hot. And going into the playoffs, we were feeling good, playing well. So it wasn't a thing of you know I signed there and oh this is going to be the team. I had no idea what to expect. We did not start off well at all. But as you got into January, February, March, you know we turned it on and then we lost the first two games of the playoffs. So then things just changed instantly. So you never really know, but obviously we knew we had a good team, but you just can't tell until you get there. Like I said, we went down 2-0 instantly, and the season could have been over. It could have been done right there.
Yeah, that's the one thing people forget about that cup run is Philip Grubauer starts. Obviously, Braden Holtby takes over, and the rest is history. And I covered that Stanley Cup final. I was at a couple games in Vegas. What a fucking party. Epic stuff. Speaking of which, so you and I frequently, sometimes, it depends on when, we hit the town a bit. And you do recall this after the Leafs. You're smiling already. So the Leafs beat Tampa, Rosie. And I call up Devo and I say, hey, you want to take a peek? So we end up to one of our favorite spots, Parlor on King West. What was going through your head when you saw Leafs fans celebrating the way they were that night? Like the city was buzzing that night, Devo.
Yeah, I definitely understood it. I got it. I get it. I mean, it was a big deal uh, doing it against that team. It's been a while, like you know, since I was a kid that something like that's happened. So there's a whole generation who's never seen that. But at the same time, I was like, my God, it's one round. Like this is it was a massive party. We're going to the Cup Finals party. So I just thought it was funny. I just thought it was funny. But like I said, I get it. There's a whole group of people that have never seen them win around. So you know, who am I to say don't have that much fun? Let it out. You know.
Mhm.
I get it.
Fans can do whatever they want. I don't care what they do, and I get it too. But sometimes
Yeah.
you got to look around and go, "Hope the team's not partying this hard and thinking it's over,"
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
that's a recipe for
I
disaster.
would imagine that they weren't, but uh, like you said, yeah, the fans let them have it. It's great.